Welcome back to my channel Code Dictator. So topic we are going to cover programming construct like sequences, selections. So basically selections like your if else statement, switch cases, then repetitions. So repetitions like for loop, while loop, do while loop. If you are new to my channel, so subscribe and like my channel and share with your friends because sharing is a caring, and hit the bell icon to get notifications. Let's start with the session. Okay, now understand with the repetitions. We have repetitions like for loop. Basically for loop is that is used to iterate a part of program for several times. Okay, if that iteration is a fixed, so that time we can use for loop, so that is recommended for loop. We have another loop called while loop. So when to use this while loop? So whenever number of iterations is not a fixed, so that time we can use while loop. And then another one is your do while loop. So basically when to use this do while loop? So whenever number of iteration is not fixed, but you want to execute your program at least one time, at least one, so that time we are going with a do while loop. So let's understand this concept one by one. So let's start with the for loop. So basically for loop is having three different subtypes. Okay, we can call it as subtypes. So like simple for loop, for each, or we can call it as a enhanced for loop, and labeled for loop. So what exactly it is? So let's understand the concept with the help of flowchart. So for loop is basically having initialization. You need to initialize your expression with some value, then your condition. If that condition is satisfied, until that condition is true, your loop will be execute. Okay, so that condition is true, so that set of statement will execute again and again. And then it is your update expression. You need to update your expression. So whatever the value you initialize first, you need to update that value. That is your kind of like increment and decrement. And this for loop will execute until unless your condition is false. Okay, so just example, this is what my iteration 1, then iteration 2. This is incrementing my value again, and again it is coming back to my condition, and if that condition is now false, correct, so it will terminate my for loop. Okay, so let's understand this concept with the help of program. You can follow my git id for source code. Let's create a class, new class for loop demo. Write down your main method. Let's take simple example. Okay, so my initial value is what? For int I equal to 0. My loop I initialized from my 0. Okay, so I variable is initialized with the value 0. Then my condition. So for how many times I want to iterate my loop? Okay, so I want to iterate my loop for 5 times. So my I will be less than equal to 5. So basically it will start from 0 and it will execute for 5 times. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 5 equals to 5. That condition will satisfied, and then when my I variable will become 6, so that time my loop will terminate. And then your stepping or like just incrementing and decrementing of your expression, like whatever the variable. So I equal to I plus 1. I want to increment my value of I with the one step, and then I can write my statement sys out Java is fun, and then I'm going to print my value of I. Okay, so let's run this example. So initially my value of I is what? 0. Then it will be it will check that condition. If value of I is less than 5, means 0 is less than 5, yes, true. So then it will go inside my if statement, for statement, for block, and it will print that statement Java is fun and the value of I. That value of I is what? 0. and then once it come to the closing curly bracket, so it will increment the value of I, and now I become 1. So value of I is what? 1. 1 is less than equal to 5, yes. So then again it will come inside my for loop, for statement, and it will print the statement Java is fun, and value of I is right at this time. The value of I is what? 1. So it will print 1 if you see my output. So initially it is 0, then it become 1, and same thing will happen, it will repeat until unless like Java value, that value of I will become 5. So now this time value of my I is 5. 5 is less than 5? No. But 5 is equal to 5? Yes. 5 equals to 5. So it will print my statement, and it will print that value of I is 5. And then it will increment value of I, which will become 6. 6 is less than 5? No. 6 is equal to 5? No. So then my for loop will terminate. So this is how that output is there, and this is how it is like my basic for loop. Okay, let's understand the second example, that is my for each loop, or we can call it as a NR's for loop. So just an example, I have one set of array which is my int type. So don't worry, we are going to learn about array. You can follow my channel and you can press the bell icon to get some notifications. Numbers equal to, in curly bracket I am giving some numbers like 3 comma 7 comma 5 comma minus 5. Okay, so array basically it is a set of homogeneous element. It is a similar type of elements, and then I'm going to write my for each loop. So for, inside that I need to take some input. Okay, like whatever my array is there, so I'm going to take first index value step by step. Okay, I don't have anything like this, like initialization, condition, or incrementing. I don't have this kind of thing inside my enhanced for loop. So that is what some advanced concept. So it is int, it will automatically iterate your loop, iterate your array, and it will take all the value one by one which is present at your particular index. So that is what I can take that I, and then I need to use colon, and then I need to give that array name whatever it is, so which is number, and then inside my loop I can just write the same statement. Okay, let's run the same example. Just a minute. Yeah, for each loop. Okay, so it's just a message, simple message, and just run the program. So if you see that this is what my simple for loop, but if you see that my enhanced for loop, whatever my array elements are there, with the help of their index, my loop will iterate automatically. It will take that numbers array inside my numbers variable, and it will take all the elements one by one with the help of their indexing. So this is my 0th index, 1, second index, and my third index, and it will print those value automatically inside my for each loop. Okay guys, so now let's understand about your label for loop. So now create one another class, label for loop, write down your main method. Okay, so basically your label for loop, how it works, whenever your condition satisfied at a particular condition, okay, is satisfied, so then you can use your break statement and you can jump to the particular label. So label is basically just kind of like checkpoint. Okay, so let's go with the example first. So write down your label, and label is just a label name. Okay, it can be anything, and you can write your for loop int I equal to 0, I is less than equal to, just example, 2, and your I plus plus. Inside that I am going to write inner for loop. Okay, this is called nested for loop. So before that I am going to just print a statement, sys out parent loop. This is my parent loop, correct? This is the outer one, so we can call it as a parent loop, and this is the value of my parent loop. and then I can write my inner for loop for int j equal to, we can just initiate value with the 0, and then j is less than equal to 3, j plus plus, and then we can check our condition over there. But before checking that condition, I'll just write like inner loop. Okay, inner loop, and the value of inner loop, which is j, not ij, it's j. Yep. And then I can check the condition if I equals to 2 and j equals to 2. Whenever this condition will be satisfied, so I want to break my loop, so I can simply use my break statement. And whenever I want to break my statement, so I want to jump to my label directly. If I am breaking the statement, so it will break only this inner for loop, but it will continue with my outer for loop. But I want to break my complete loop. I want to jump to my label directly, so I can use that label name and then simply semicolon. Okay, and then I can print my message simply like sysout child plus j. Okay, so what is the statement we are writing here? I'll just remove that, and you can run your program now, so you will get that output. So if you see that initially my parent is 0, I value is 0, I is less than 2, yes, my condition satisfied, so it will go my inside that loop and it will execute inner loop. It will print the message parent I, that is what my parent I 0, and then it will execute my inner loop, that initially value of j is what, 0. It will print that child value as a 0, and it will compare that values like I equals to 2, no, j equals to 2, no, so it will print the message. Then my j will increment, j will become 2, sorry, j will become 1, 1 is less than equal to 3, no. Then it will print my statement that child is there, and then it will again increment the value of j, it will become 2, so 2 is less than equal to 3, yes. It will go to the if condition, if I equals to 2, no, I is 0, but j equal to 2. But this is what my logical AND. So basically logical AND, how it works, whenever the first condition is true, then only it will go with the second condition. If my first condition is not true, it is false, so it will never go with the second condition. This is the advantage of your logical AND. Okay, so after this iteration, successful iteration done, if I value will become your 4, 4 is less than 3, no, 4 equal to 3, no, so this will terminate your for loop. Now your I value will become 1, and the similar way it will become 2. So once it become 2, okay, 2 is less than 2, no, but 2 is equal to 2, yes. So then it will go to inside my loop and it will iterate for n number of times, so until unless my value of j will become 2. So j is less than 3, yes, so value of 2, j is 2, 2 is less than 3, yes. It will go inside my for loop and it will check the condition, I equals to 2, yes, and then j equals to 2, yes, the condition is satisfied, and it will break the loop and it will jump to my label over here. Okay, it will directly jump, it will break my loop and it will jump to my label automatically. So this is what your label for loop works.